So in this lesson, we're going to take a look at the bending technique, specifically how we develop the finger strength in the left hand, how we ensure that we play our bends accurately, and thirdly, we're going to look at them in context with some minor pentatonic scales. So before we get started, make sure you've downloaded the PDF document that accompanies this lesson. There you'll find all the examples that we're going to go through. Also, make sure you've hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, and give this video a comment so we can get in touch with you and we can learn how your bending technique's developing. Okay, so the first thing we need to look at is developing the strength in the left hand, and more specifically, how we can make sure our bends are actually going to be in tune by bending. So, my philosophy on this is that we're going to use 3 fingers at least to support the string as we're bending it. For example, let's take fret 15 up here on the guitar, fretting 15, on the B string. If I want to bend this up 2 frets, I want to ensure that I have not only my 3rd finger on the string, but my 2nd and my 1st finger behind it, in order to give enough strength for me to make sure that I hold the string in place. What often happens when we're starting to develop this technique is we end up bending with 1 finger. The most common thing I see students doing is bending with their 1st finger. And you can hear that it's out of tune, you can hear that I'm clipping other strings, because there's just not enough strength for me to withhold that bend. So you can try with 2 fingers. But still, we're hearing a clipping sound of me clipping the other string. When we place 3 fingers on the string, we are gently allowing our 1st finger here to mute the string above it. And the 3rd finger is the one we are bending with, and the remaining 2 are supporting it. Now, once you develop that, I would practice it across the fretboard, because tension across the fretboard is different. It feels different, and it's going to take a while for you to get used to that distance. So, it's going to be easier in the higher register, just simply because it's easier to bend the strings, there's less tension, and it's going to be tighter the closer we get to the nut here, to fret 1. So, you could take something like the minor pentatonic scale. Here on the 12th fret, which would be the E minor pentatonic scale. And you could bend that B string from 15 up to 17. Now, you could take that same shape, so the minor pentatonic scale played from fret 7, a B minor pentatonic scale, and you can practice bending that 10th fret up to the 12th fret on the B string. But remember, using the same technique, we are using our fingers to support the string to give it enough strength when we reach the top of the bend. Then I'd move the same thing down to the 5th fret. So the A minor pentatonic scale on the 5th fret. It's the same shape as fret 12 and fret 7. But here we're going to bend from fret 8 on the B string up to fret 10. Then, just for good measure, I would practice, which is a slightly more difficult thing to do, practice bending up 1 fret at a time. So, I might start, let's start on fret 5, make sure I can bend up to fret 6. Then, from 6 to 7, from 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. Here you are practicing the next most important thing, the distance. How far we need to bend the string to make sure that it's in tune. You're going to practice this and get used to that feeling because it's different in different places of the fretboard. So, for me to bend from fret 6 to fret 8 requires an ever so slightly different amount of distance from maybe 15 to 17. The other thing is your fingers need to get used to kind of, in a way, the pain. Hopefully it shouldn't hurt at this point because you've been playing long enough that your tips are strong enough. But you do need to get used to how it feels to grip the string and at which point you need to stop. An example of it being not far enough would sound like this. I'll bend from fret 15 to fret 17 and I'll make sure I underbend so it's not going to reach the pitch we want it to reach. Now I want this note. So this is not correct. So I would gradually bend up to the note slowly until I think I've got the note. But we don't want to think about this, we want to be sure. We want to be certain we've got the note. So the next tip I suggest is playing the note that you want to bend to, listen carefully to that pitch, and then try to match that pitch as you slowly bend the string. That's how you know just how far to bend. So, listening to the pitch of the note first, then gradually bending, using all 3 fingers to support. Will tell you the distance. Now, how do we check you can do it properly? You may practice that for a long time, but we want to be certain. So, let's try what we call a pre-bend. A pre-bend is when you bend the string to the note that you want to play before you actually strike the string. So, let's start by going back and playing the note we want to reach, the note we want to bend to. Fret 17 on the B string. Now, let me bend up to that slowly. So it's about there. Now, let me bend the string to that point first. And bring it down. Let's try again. I won't strike the string this time, I'll just bend. And then, oh, see, it's flat. There we go. That's how you check whether or not you know exactly where it is. Play the note first. Bend up. And bend down. You can even go one step further, and this sounds quite cool actually. It's a little technique you can use as a lead guitarist. Play the note first, pre-bend to the note, play it, bend the string down, let it drop, and slide to the note 2 frets above. So I'll do that all together rather than saying it. Here's how it sounds. And again. That's how you know if it sounds like it's in tune. So you should hear the note played. Oh. And then when you play it from the top of the bend and bring it down and slide it, it should sound identical. It should sound exactly the same, in tune with one another. Once you've mastered that, apply that to the fretboard. let's take the pentatonic positions we used before. Fret 12, fret 7, and fret 5. Using, first of all, fret 15 and 17 on the B string, like this. Then, position 7, fret 7, and fret 10 and fret 12. Play fret 12 first. Pre-bend fret 10 up to the pitch of fret 12. Let it drop, and then slide. Then, let's apply this to fret 5. Position 5, the A minor pentatonic. Let's play fret 10 on the B string. Then, let's pre-bend fret 8 up to fret 10, drop it down slowly and slide. And then we'll check if the two pitches are the same. There you go. So, how can we use this in context? Because, I mean, that sounds cool, but it's more of an exercise. It's not really actually a lick. It's not anything I wouldn't use that if I was soloing. So, you can practice this by ascending the pentatonic scale, and then once you get to the B string, bending up. I'll do it on fret 5. And again, once more. You can include vibrato at the end to make the notes sing a little bit. Maybe you don't want to slide. You don't have to slide. The purpose of sliding was only to make sure that we are playing the note correctly. If we know that we can bend in tune now, let's just end on a bend with some vibrato. Remember to try this across the rest of the fretboard. Let's take the minor pentatonic position on fret 7. So the B minor pentatonic scale. Fret 12, the E minor pentatonic. Great. So, I would then try practicing this bending technique on other strings. So, once we've mastered the B string, let's try the G string. Again, we're going to be bending up 2 frets. Let's stay within this pentatonic scale. That's 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Now, let's take fret 7 of the G string, 7 of the G string, and bend it up 2 frets to fret 9. Then, let's take fret 9 of the G string and bend it up to fret 11. This is now the pentatonic position, the minor pentatonic scale on fret 7, B minor pentatonic scale. The same shape as fret 5, moved up 2 frets. So, fret 9 of the G string up to fret 11. Then, fret 12, minor pentatonic scale, E minor pentatonic. we're going to bend fret 14 up to fret 16 on the G string. It's important to know that when we are bending, we want to make sure that we're muting as much as possible. So I do this by using the back palm of my hand on the lower register of the strings if I'm playing the E, the B or the G string and I'm bending. My palm here is muting the E, A and D string. So you don't hear this unless I choose to rake the strings, which is also a good technique, to brush through all of the strings before you hit that note, before you hit the string you want to play, and bend the note up. Otherwise, if I just want to play that string by itself, I still want to make sure I'm muting the other strings, just to make sure there's no unwanted string noise. Regardless of where I'm playing on the fretboard, this is always happening. So, there's some useful ways to develop the string bending technique and how to use it in a context, how to practice it in a context, which is always really important. First of all, developing the finger strength by making sure you're bending with 3 fingers at first. Then, making sure you can bend to the note and to the correct pitch accurately. You can play the note before you bend to it. Play the note, maybe you're bending 2 frets above, so a whole step. Play that note, move back, bend the string up. The same if you're bending for 1 fret, so a semitone. Play the fret above it, go back to the note you want to bend, and then bend it up gradually. Lastly, the pre-bend technique. If you know where it should be, if you already know the distance, then play the note that you want to bend to, then pre-bend the string before you strike it, and gently bring the string down, and then move to the note above. That will help you double check whether or not you can actually play it. Then lastly, practice it in context with the minor pentatonic scale, because that's kind of when we start playing really, and when we're developing our beginner to intermediate level improvisational skills or soloing skills or licks. The minor pentatonic scale is the scale we're going to use most, and this kind of bend, particularly Chuck Berry, Randy Rhoads, Tony Iommi, lots of guitar players in the rock, metal kind of world will generally play the bending technique within the minor pentatonic scale. So, my name's Ben Bullet Mortlock. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can stay up to date with more lessons. And take a look at that PDF document to help support you while you're practicing on the fretboard. Until next time, keep playing.